Love isn't always enough. And if you've ever loved a man deeply, given him your heart, your loyalty, your body, your time only to watch him grow distant or walk away, you know exactly what I mean. It's confusing, isn't it? You show up, you give your best, and yet something still breaks. You lie awake at night asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Wasn't love supposed to be enough? But here's the truth most people never tell you. Love, as we've been taught, is just the beginning. It's not the glue that holds everything together. Because for men, real, emotionally layered, complex men, there are deeper emotional needs that speak louder than love. Needs that, when unmet, can quietly corrode even the most passionate connection. I'm not saying love is meaningless. What I am saying is that it's not complete. And if you're wondering why the love you gave didn't land the way you hoped, why it wasn't enough to make him stay, then this might be the most important thing you'll ever hear. Because men, whether they realize it or not, are wired for more than romance. They crave a specific kind of emotional fuel. Something raw, often invisible, but absolutely vital. And without it, love feels like decoration on a house with no foundation. What I'm about to share with you aren't just tips. They are emotional. Survival needs for men. Needs so powerful that when a man feels them, he doesn't just love you, he feels safe with you, seen, valued. And when that happens, love becomes inevitable. Obsession becomes effortless. These are not things you'll hear in romantic comedies. You won't find them in most relationship advice columns, because they go beneath the surface, beneath the flowers, the texts, the date nights. They go to the very core of how a man connects, commits, and stays. Today, I'll walk you through the 3 emotional needs that are stronger than love for men, what they are, how to recognize them, and most importantly, how to meet them in a way that speaks directly to his soul, not to manipulate him, not to play a game, but to finally understand the inner workings of his emotional world. A world most people never get to see. So if you've ever loved and lost, if you've ever wondered why it still fell apart, stay with me. Because you're about to learn what truly holds a man, not by force, not by fear, but by emotional gravity. Let's go a little deeper. When a relationship starts to crack, most people immediately look at love. Did we fall out of love? Was I not loving enough? Maybe we just weren't meant to be. But those are surface-level answers. Because the truth is, most relationships don't die from a lack of love. They die from emotional misalignment, from not being able to meet each other in the emotional language that truly matters. Here's what I mean. When women love, they often express it in ways that make sense to them. Affection, support, loyalty, nurturing. And these things are beautiful. But they don't always land the same way for men. Why? Because men don't bond through caretaking. They bond through respect, through feeling needed, through feeling like they matter, through emotional safety, but not the kind that comes with 1,000 check-ins or soft reassurances. The kind that lets them feel like they can finally breathe without being judged. And that's where the heartbreak begins. Because a woman can love deeply, sincerely, selflessly. And yet, if a man doesn't feel these deeper emotional needs being met, he will still pull away. Not because he wants to hurt her, not because he stopped loving her, but because something inside him quietly starts to shut down. He might not even know why. He just feels off, disconnected, restless. He might start working longer hours, getting shorter in conversation, losing interest in intimacy. And she's left wondering what happened when all she ever did was love him with everything she had. Here's the part that hurts the most. He doesn't leave because he doesn't love you. He leaves because he doesn't feel like himself in the relationship anymore. He leaves because the space no longer reflects who he needs to be in order to stay emotionally alive. That's what most people miss. We assume that if love is present, the relationship should work. But love is not oxygen. It's not enough to keep the heart breathing on its own. It needs to be supported by other emotional nutrients, especially for men who are often starved of them their whole lives. Men are taught to suppress, to perform, to protect. Rarely are they shown how to receive emotionally, or even how to ask for what they truly need. So they don't say anything. They just retreat. They don't complain. They just disappear. Emotionally first, then physically. And from the outside, it looks like coldness. It looks like he doesn't care. But inside, it's a slow erosion of his emotional core. That's why this conversation matters. Because when you understand what makes a man feel alive in a relationship, what makes him stay, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then you no longer have to chase him. You no longer have to guess. You speak directly to the deepest part of him, and that's where connection becomes unbreakable. So, if you've ever felt the pain of watching a man you love slip away, even though you gave him everything, even though you would have done anything to make it work, then maybe it's time to stop asking, "Did I love him enough?" and start asking, "Did I understand what he actually needed to feel emotionally alive with me?" Because when you do, everything changes. Need number 1, respect that feels earned. Ask most women what a man needs in a relationship, and they'll usually say love, maybe loyalty, maybe physical affection. But if you ask a man who's emotionally aware and honest with himself, he won't say love first. He'll say respect, and not the polite, automatic kind. Not, "I respect you because I should." No, he wants to earn your respect. He wants to feel like your admiration for him isn't just there by default, but because you see him as a man worth admiring. This goes deeper than ego. It cuts into the core of how a man defines his worth. See, biologically and psychologically, men are wired for competence, status, and impact. Not in a narcissistic or power-hungry way, but in a deeply human way. A man wants to feel like who he is, what he does, and what he offers matters. And your respect is the mirror that reflects that back to him. Now, here's the dangerous part. A man can be madly in love with a woman who doesn't respect him, but that love won't feel safe. It'll feel exhausting, and eventually, it'll feel pointless. Let me give you an example. Let's say he offers a solution to a problem you're having. He's not trying to fix you. He's just showing up in the way he knows how. And your response, "That's not going to work." You don't get it. Now to you, that may just be honesty. But to him, it cuts deep. It doesn't just shut down the conversation. It shuts down his sense of value in the relationship. Because in that moment, he feels like nothing he offers is good enough. Like his efforts are invisible. Like no matter how hard he tries, you've already decided that you know better. And it's not about agreeing with everything he says. It's about showing that you trust his intent, that even if his solution isn't perfect, his heart was in the right place, that you see him making the effort, that you believe he's capable. And that belief, that's what makes a man show up. That's what makes him try harder. That's what makes him want to rise for you. But here's where most people get it wrong. Men don't want empty praise. They want earned admiration. They don't want to be told they're amazing just because they showed up. They want to know that even when they struggled, even when they failed, you still saw the man trying. You still believed in the man beneath the moment. That kind of respect, it hits his soul. It tells him you're enough. And not because you're perfect, because you showed up. Think about the moments in your life when you really respected someone. Not because they had all the answers, but because they kept going. because they faced something hard and didn't quit, because they didn't run from the weight, they carried it. That's the kind of respect a man wants from the woman he loves. And when he gets it, his walls come down, his pride softens, his loyalty deepens. Because now, he's not just being loved, he's being recognized. And here's something important. Respect isn't loud. It doesn't always show up in words. Sometimes it's in how you listen, how you look at him when he speaks, how you ask for his opinion, even when you already know yours, how you let him lead, just enough to feel that you trust him. Respect isn't submission. It's not silence. It's not blind agreement. It's intelligent belief. It's saying, I see your effort. I trust your core. I believe in your judgment. And when a man feels that, he doesn't just want to stay. He wants to protect you, provide for you, rise for you. Because now, he feels like your man, not just your partner. But here's the twist. Respect alone isn't enough. Because even when a man is respected, if he doesn't feel needed, he still won't feel fully alive in the relationship. That brings us to the second emotional need. And trust me, this one runs deeper than you think. Need number 2, the freedom to feel like a hero. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, he doesn't need to be a hero. It's not the movies. Hear me out. Because this isn't about capes or saving damsels. It's not about ego or arrogance. It's about something far deeper. Something ancient, primal, wired into the emotional DNA of a man. Men want to feel useful. Men need to feel needed, not in a desperate, clingy way, but in a way that says, my presence in your life makes a difference. That's the essence of the hero instinct. It's not about bravado or bravely slaying dragons. It's about being able to contribute, to protect, to solve, to be the one you turn to, not because you can't survive without him, but because you choose to invite him into your world. See, men often find meaning not through what they say, but through what they do. They express love through action. They build connection through doing something that matters to someone they care about. And when they don't feel needed, they start to feel invisible, replaceable, irrelevant. That's a dangerous place for a man to live. Because a man who feels replaceable starts to retreat. Not because he's selfish, but because he's losing his role in your life. And with that loss comes disconnection. Let me give you a real-world example. Say you're struggling with something. Emotionally, practically, even something as simple as moving a piece of furniture. He offers help. And you say, it's fine, I've got it. You mean well. You're showing independence, competence. But what he hears is, I don't need you. Now imagine if, instead, you said, could you help me with this? You're always better at it. That one sentence, it shifts everything. Not because you're weak, not because you couldn't do it yourself, but because you let him matter. That's the key. The hero instinct isn't about dependency. It's about allowing a man to be part of your strength, to contribute to your well-being, to offer something, protection, advice, a solution that makes him feel essential to your life. And here's the thing. When you allow a man to be your hero in small, everyday ways, he rises. His chest lifts, his tone changes, his energy shifts. Because now he's not just watching from the sidelines. He's in the game. He has a purpose, a place. Even just saying, I feel safer when you're around, or thank you for handling that, you always make things easier, can light him up in ways words like, I love you, sometimes can't, because love without purpose feels empty. But love with a role, that's when he commits. That's when he wants to stay. Now, there's a common misconception here. People think letting a man be your hero means you're giving up power. But in reality, you're exercising wisdom. Because the most powerful women are the ones who understand this paradox. You don't lose strength by letting a man lead in some areas. You create partnership. And in a world where men are constantly told they're not needed, where society mocks masculinity or reduces it to toxic cliches offering a space where a man can feel respected and needed, he won't forget it. Because you won't just be someone he loves. You'll be someone he's proud to protect, to serve, to stand beside. Not out of duty, but out of devotion. And when he feels like your hero, not in fantasy, but in emotional reality, he bonds with you in a way that transcends romance. Now, he doesn't just stay because he loves you. He stays because being with you makes him feel like the man he wants to be, but even the hero, strong, grounded, capable needs something most people never think to offer him. Something that isn't loud or obvious. Something that hides behind silence, behind jokes, behind the masks he's worn for years. And Thetis, the third emotional need. The one that touches his soul more than anything else. Need number 3. Emotional safety without judgment. This one is the most invisible, the most misunderstood, and in many ways, the most powerful of all. Because while respect speaks to a man's status, and the hero instinct speaks to his purpose, emotional safety speaks to his soul. And here's the painful truth. Most men don't feel emotionally safe anywhere. Not at work, not with their friends, not even with the woman they love. From the time they're boys, men are told a story. Don't cry. Man up. Don't be weak. Figure it out. And so, they learn early to hide, to tuck away their fear, their sadness, their confusion, to perform instead of express, to smile when they're breaking, to stay silent when they're screaming inside, and they get so good at it that most people never notice the emotional weight they carry. But the weight doesn't go away. It just goes inward. It turns into stress, into reactivity, into distance, into numbness, and the heartbreaking part. Even when a man wants to open up, he's terrified that if he does, he'll be judged, seen as weak, told to get over it, met with solutions instead of support, corrected instead of heard. That's why emotional safety is so rare and so life-changing when it's offered. Imagine this. He comes home from a hard day. He doesn't say much. He's quiet, withdrawn. You can tell something's off. Now, the common response might be, "What's wrong with you? Why are you in a mood again?" Or worse, "You always shut down. Why don't you just talk to me?" But emotional safety sounds like this. "You seem tired today. I'm here if you want to talk. No pressure." Or even better, silence, presence, a gentle touch on the shoulder. No fixing, no interrogation. Just space. You see, when a man finds a woman who doesn't force him to explain, who can sit with his silence without trying to fill it, he feels something he hasn't felt since he was a boy. He feels free, not because everything is okay, but because for once, he doesn't have to pretend it is. And when that happens, something beautiful unfolds. He starts to open up, slowly, softly, not always with words, sometimes with action, with presence, with deeper affection. But he lets you in, because now he trusts you with the part of himself he trusts with no one else. And here's what's wild. Studies show that men produce oxytocin, the bonding hormone, more powerfully during safe emotional experiences than even during sex. That means it's not your body that makes him bond to you. It's your presence, your non-judgmental acceptance, your ability to hold space for his truth, even when it's messy. And here's the paradox. When a man feels emotionally safe, he becomes stronger, more protective, more focused, more open. Because now he's not wasting energy guarding himself from the person who's supposed to be his peace. Let that sink in. You don't have to fix him. You don't have to solve his problems. You just have to be the place where he can put his armor down. But sadly, most men never find that. They keep performing, keep pretending, keep living half alive, even in the arms of someone who loves them. That's why the woman who understands this, who offers him that rarest of gifts, emotional safety without judgment, becomes unforgettable. Not because she's perfect, not because she says the right thing, but because in her presence, he feels human. And that's what bonds him. That's what makes him stay. That's what transforms love from a feeling into a home. Why women often miss these needs. So why do so many women miss these 3 emotional needs? It's not because they don't care. It's not because they're not loving. In fact, it's usually the opposite. They love deeply. They give generously. They pour their hearts into the relationship through affection, attention, support, nurturing. But here's the truth. Most women love men the way they wish to be loved. And that makes sense. It's human. We offer what we ourselves want most, but men don't bond the same way. While women often connect through communication, emotional sharing, reassurance, men connect through purpose, respect, and emotional safety. When a woman tries to love a man by doing all the things that would make her feel secure, it can sometimes backfire. Not because her love is wrong, but because it's not landing where he needs it most. He doesn't need constant check-ins. He doesn't need reminders every hour that you care. What he needs is to feel that you believe in him, that you need him in your world, not because you're broken without him, but because his presence adds something meaningful to your life. What he needs is to feel like he can be vulnerable without being corrected, that he can be tired without being judged, that he can bring his whole self, not just his strength, but his softness into the relationship. Most women aren't taught this. No one ever tells them that a man's deepest emotional attachment isn't always built on affection, but on how he feels seen in your presence. And so, love sometimes falls short. Not because there wasn't enough, but because it was spoken in the wrong emotional language. That's why the woman who understands these needs stands out. She's not always the most attractive or the most charismatic, but she becomes unforgettable because she doesn't just offer love. She offers something far rarer. She gives him a place where he can be a man, fully, freely, FEARLESSLY. And when a man finds that he doesn't look elsewhere, he doesn't wonder what else is out there. Because he's found what most men spend a lifetime searching for, a love that speaks to his soul. So let's bring it all together. Love is powerful. But for a man to truly stay, to truly bond, to truly choose you again and again, he needs more than just love. He needs to feel respected not by default, but because you see the strength in him, even when he's struggling. He needs to feel like a hero, not because you can't do it alone, but because you want him beside you. And he needs to feel safe emotionally, spiritually, silently safe, where he can show up without fear of being judged. When a man receives these 3 things, he doesn't just fall in love. He anchors in love, he plants roots, he shows up stronger, he protects harder, he stays longer, because now he's not just in a relationship, he's home. So if you've ever wondered why love alone wasn't enough to make him stay, maybe now you understand. Maybe now you see the deeper code of connection. And if this spoke to something in you, if it opened your eyes or stirred your heart, here's what I want you to do. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more honest truths about men, women, and the hidden language of love. And let me know in the comments below, which of these 3 emotional needs surprised you the most and why? Because real love starts with real understanding. And this is where it begins.